I've been wanting to share my full TMJ story lately, but have kind of struggled to figure out how to communicate it and the treatment/surgeries I've had in a way that not only makes sense, but also can relay the mental aspect of dealing with something chronic that has completely upended my entire life. That doctors didn't understand and kept putting braces on me, splints in me, kept telling me everything was okay and that we would just watch it. This will require a few different part series, and I also hope that others can avoid the pitfalls that I now face as a quote-unquote end-stage TMJ patient, meaning there's nothing more that anyone can do for me, and what's left of my joints have to be removed and replaced with metal and a plastic prosthesis so that I can get my function and my life back. So I will just kind of start from the beginning before I got braces the first time. And if you're a dentist, orthodontist, jaw surgeon, or dental hygienist, I really, really hope you'll watch this, as this is something that's not taught in schools, yet I think this joint disease is becoming more prevalent.
Around 2001, when I was 10 years old, I was told I had too much teeth crowding and my upper bicuspids were removed. So this was already a red flag that my lower jaw was smaller. Unfortunately, my orthodontist didn't know it was my lower jaw that was smaller and decided it was my upper jaw that was too big. So then at age 11, I get put into braces for the first time and I'm told it would be 2 years. But he was having trouble getting my bite to meet because of my ICR that was flaring up that we didn't know about. So I was put into rubber bands at this time in hopes that we could intrude my back teeth and extrude the front teeth in order to meet. I had no idea what the rubber bands were for or that he was fighting an open front bite, but now I know. As this was happening, my lower jaw was getting smaller from all the stress of braces and my juvenile ICR in my joints. So he said, her upper jaw is still too big, and he put on headgear on me to further push back my upper maxilla to be equal with my diminishing bottom jaw. So my anatomy should really look more like this, without the front teeth tipping. This was one of the single most damaging things done to me in all my treatments with ICR, and is common with a lot of other ICR patients as well. I don't like to use this word, but more or less my skull was deformed from all of this. Just for reference, this is my sibling who I should anatomically look more like, but we don't even look like we're related. So I just wish he would have had the knowledge to scan my joints back then. Then at age 15, with very damaged teeth roots from all the extruding and intruding, he took off my braces with slight gaps in between my teeth and said, I did the best I could. I went about my high school years until my senior year I was unhappy with the gaps forming at the sides of my teeth and asked if I could get braces again. He told me he would not put me back in braces, worrying I would lose teeth due to the shortened roots he had caused. He told me the gaps were forming because my teeth roots were going back up into my gum and bone, but now I know better.
So at this point, I've had scoliosis surgery, very severe scoliosis in 2007. And it was pretty bad at the point where they didn't want to put me in a brace. They just wanted me to go straight to surgery within 3 months. And this was after surgery. So I still have a bottom lumbar curve, but the upper has been corrected. And why I'm saying this is that it's really weird because there have been studies done in rats where they've kind of messed up their occlusion to form a malocclusion, and some of those rats ended up developing scoliosis. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think that my jaw problem was already wreaking havoc, and we saw that in the form of scoliosis possibly in my body. And we were so concerned about the scoliosis, we totally weren't thinking about the jaw at that point. Honestly, my jaw issues have been so much worse. My scoliosis was corrected really quickly, and I haven't really had to deal with it since. I got my wisdom teeth taken out in 2010, and then I see this dentist. She told me that I needed to save $100,000 to $150,000 to replace all my teeth someday. Again, a tooth doctor sees this as a tooth problem. They don't learn a lot about the temporomandibular joint in school, so I understand if you have a hammer, you typically see a nail type of deal here. About a year after this, I take a round of Accutane and birth control pills for the first time to control acne, and this is when I started experiencing my first TMJ pain. The pain got so bad that in the next 3 to 6 months, I couldn't finish my Accutane treatment. I thought it was the Accutane that had caused my TMJ pain. There are currently no links to ICR from Accutane, but honestly, don't take Accutane. It's so bad for your body anyways. But there are currently links to birth control pills and ICR. My open anterior bite became very open after this, and my jaw started to pop. So this begins my 10-year struggle of battling chronic pain. In the next 4 years, I sought the opinions of 6 different doctors and was given splint after splint after splint. I mean, look at this. Is that
blood.
No one had MRI'd me yet. Then I was told by my last TMJ doctor in 2016, after my pain had gotten to a very high level, that I needed double jaw surgery, which for the record is terrible for ICR and has like a 90% failure rate. And then you have permanently done something that's harder to reverse. So I went to find an orthodontist for this surgery, and he was one of the first to tell me that he thought something more sinister was going on in my jaw joints and that DJS wouldn't solve my problem. God bless Dr. Donald Hunt. He sent me to Dr. P, who evaluated me and ordered my first MRI and told me I needed fat grafts. I was honestly in terrible pain by this point and couldn't functionally chew. I was fatigued constantly, and I was just really desperate for any relief possible. So I got the grafts done December 2016. And this is called a discectomy, where my pulverized jaw joint discs were taken out and fat was taken from my stomach and inserted into the ligaments/TMJs. I was on a lot more prescription medicines starting with the surgery and really have not been able to stop taking them, unfortunately. After my fat graft, I still had a very open bite. And what did we do? You guessed it, we intruded my back molars and extruded my front teeth for a second time. So you can see that my occlusal plane went from this to this. This blunted all my short teeth roots even more and changed my maxilla anatomy for a second time. Shockingly though, I didn't lose any teeth. My bite met up for about 2 months after surgical braces plus normal braces were taken off in 2019. So I was in braces at the end of 2016 to the end of 2019. That's a long time. By this point, I've been in braces for a fourth of my lifetime. And worst of all, my condyles continued to reabsorb and my open bite came back. I was feeling very defeated at this point in time. I went back to Dr. P and planned to close my bite from, yet again, intruding my molars using a surgery called SFOT, but I had a deeply bad gut feeling this time. I wish this feeling would have come sooner. Dr. P did keep telling me how tiny my condyles were, but said that they had had success with other patients with condyles tinier than mine. I didn't really have a good reference until I started researching for myself online and joining different Facebook groups that I had found. I also noticed that while I was at the clinic, my condyles had shrunk quite considerably since my first scan there. So seeking advice from other patients online and doing my own research, I knew it was time to start looking into a total joint replacement. I am so glad I did not intrude my back molars for a third time. I have many opinions on fat grafts, but that's another longer video for another time. Or let me know in the comments if you have questions about anything else. By the time I had decided to get TJR surgery, I already had a palate expander in my mouth preparing for SFOT surgery for the back molar intrusion. This thing was truly a modern torture device. But it helped me to avoid a 3-piece LaFort, and instead I'm getting a 1-piece LaFort. And I still did the SFOT surgery for structural reasons. So that's 5 orthodontists, 3 times in braces, in Invisalign treatment now, 4 dentists, 2 TMJ specialists, 2 periodontists, 2 chiropractors, 2 physical therapists, 1 sleep doctor, 1 pain doctor, 5 second opinions, and 2 surgeons later, and I'm finally hoping that this will bring me some relief. I know it's not super realistic to hope that this will solve all my problems at this point, but I really should have had this surgery sooner, and unfortunately I slipped through the hands of at least 11 doctors who I wish had been taught in their universities what ICR was. In a nutshell, for any doctors or other patients watching this, it really is as simple as seeing an open bite and monitoring it to see if it gets larger. And that's why I'm here online trying to spread the word. I will be getting a bilateral total joint replacement, 1-piece LaFort, genioplasty, and possible turbinate reduction, depending on if my maxilla bumps up against the nasal bones or not. I'll have Invisalign also for another year after this, most likely. So if you can't tell by now, I'm a documentation girl and I love information. So follow me for more information in the future and also follow my recovery. Thank you so much for listening. And if you've stuck around this long, here's a picture of my dog.